And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from him. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out.
In Florida, man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots.
Oh, Tank's going to kill him. Tank's going to kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then...
Okay. It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like when
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's going to kill him because he will not get hit.
The boxing community is stunned as Gervonta Davis appears in the best shape of his career ahead of his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. Training footage shows him hammering the heavy bag with explosive strength and sharp precision. His focused movements and relentless energy prove how seriously he's preparing, leaving boxing experts impressed by his conditioning and confidence before the big matchup. Analysts explain that Gervonta Davis has a strong chance of winning, but only if he fights intelligently. They emphasize that he must rely on movement, ring control, and timing instead of chasing an early knockout. Tank's brilliance lies in his patience and his ability to read his opponent's rhythm. Experts believe that if he focuses on sticking and moving, Jake Paul won't be able to handle his precision and speed. Davis is recognized as one of the most explosive punchers in boxing, but it's his defensive skills and counterpunching that make him truly dangerous. Many agree that when he fights smart, no opponent at Jake's level can compete with his combination of technique, power, and footwork.
Can his speed and, his ability make up for that size difference, in your honest opinion?
Well, he has to be very smart throughout the course of the fight. It's hard to know in some things. I think Gervonta's just going to stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart, I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab. Jake's fighting one of the best boxers ever.
Experts predict that Jake Paul will face a harsh reality once he steps into the ring with Gervonta Davis. They believe Tank's experience, speed, and fight IQ are far beyond anything Jake has ever encountered. Jake's previous opponents, though physically strong, lacked Tank's explosive timing and ability to exploit openings. Many analysts think the power difference will be overwhelming once Tank lands clean. They describe Jake's defense as raw and untested, while Davis's ring experience allows him to calculate every movement. With that, a knockout seems almost inevitable. The general belief is that once Tank connects, Jake won't have the endurance or defensive awareness to recover, leading to a sudden and brutal finish.
Tank Davis look crazy, bro. Chilaquiles. Gervonta Tank Davis hitting a heavy bag in preparation for his Jake Paul fight November 14th down there in Florida. Man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots. You mean to tell me somebody who done fought UFC fighters and a man with Parkinson's disease can take a body punch from Gervonta Tank Davis, and y'all basing y'all logic just because Jake Paul is big? No, Tank's going to go ahead and put this man to sleep. I'm telling y'all that right now. If Tank don't put this man to sleep, he done let the black community down, he done let boxing down, and he ain't never been that nice. You Tank fans, y'all trying to give him a pass. If y'all said Tank is as skilled as y'all say he is, if he does not put Jake Paul to sleep and stop Jake Paul, his boxing career is absolutely voided. He already don't care about legacy, and just imagine he don't knock out Jake Paul, and now y'all want to say it's not a real fight, it's an exhibition. No, we not giving no passes, bro. This Gervonta Tank Davis. He needs to put Jake Paul to sleep. I don't want to hear nothing about, Jake Paul too big. No, Jake Paul chin ain't never been tested by somebody that hit as hard as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank should put this man to sleep with ease. I'll say that respectfully. If you don't put him to sleep,
a 2-pack of ass. That shit stinks.
That's a 2-pack of ass at the highest level. And it's a musty energy at the highest level. Get it together. Get it together. Tank looks amazing. That's the Chilla Killers.
Chilla Killers. Chilla Killers.
The topic of weight has become one of the biggest points of debate surrounding this matchup. Some argue that the size difference is too significant to ignore, while others believe Gervonta's refined skill set will overshadow the physical gap. Fans and experts alike remain divided. Some question whether the fight should even take place given Jake's larger frame. Still, supporters of Tank insist that his speed, discipline, and precision allow him to outperform larger fighters with ease. They remind everyone that boxing isn't about size, but about control, angles, and timing. Many feel Jake's fundamentals are still too limited to pose a real threat, and that Tank's technical superiority will neutralize any size advantage Jake holds.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Michael Bisping acknowledges Tank's incredible power and skill, but warns that size can't be completely ignored. He respects Gervonta's ability to adapt against bigger fighters, yet points out that physical differences always have some influence. According to Bisping, Tank can outthink and outmaneuver Jake, but the weight gap might test his endurance and resistance against heavier shots. Still, he admires Tank's determination and believes that if anyone can overcome this challenge, it's him. He concludes that even though the size factor remains real, Davis's technical edge might still be enough to overcome Jake's physical advantage, if he maintains a flawless strategy.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself to doing that. I know a lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday, because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side to almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight, against Cesar Chavez Jr. Apparently no one watched that fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
Several analysts criticize how Gervonta Davis's resume has been unfairly disrespected. They explain that fighters who share the ring with Tank often gain massive recognition afterward. For example, opponents like Lamont, who were relatively unknown before facing Davis, went on to become popular and successful following their bouts with him. Analysts argue that this proves Tank's influence and star power within the sport. They reject the idea that Davis is not the face of boxing, claiming that his fights create opportunities for others and keep fans engaged. To them, criticizing his legacy ignores how much he has elevated the profile of many fighters just by stepping in the ring with them.
Ongoing discussion in the boxing world about Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis, his resume, who he's going to fight, the competitors that he's going to fight. And every once in a while, something happens that proves that Gervonta Davis is the face of that. If he's not the face of boxing because people just don't want him to be that, man, he is real close to it, because other than Canelo Alvarez, and even consider Canelo Alvarez included, nobody in boxing has divisions circulating around him like Gervonta Davis does. And that was proved during this Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz announcement for their pay-per-view. Just think about this. Gervonta Davis, they always say that Gervonta Davis has a poor resume, but yet Gervonta Davis, guys that fight Gervonta Davis, lose to Gervonta Davis, or get a draw to Gervonta Davis, can fight one another and make an anticipated pay-per-view between the two of them. Because that fight with Pitbull Cruz is a very, very popular fighter with Mexican fight fans. Lamont Roach got a lot of name exposure with black fight fans and Mexican fight fans and white fight fans, all with his draw that he got against Gervonta Davis. Now they believe that this is going to be able to be a profitable endeavor for a pay-per-view. Now, let me also tell you that Rolly Romero, who was somebody else that Gervonta Davis fought in the past, will be on a pay-per-view that's going to be successful, most likely, when he defends his WBC 140-pound championship. Or does he have the WBA?
Coach Reg offers a balanced view regarding the criticism directed at Davis. He reminds people that Gervonta has already achieved more than most fighters his age. According to him, there's nothing wrong with taking high-paying fights once you've proven yourself. Reg believes Tank deserves to secure his financial future after years of hard work and risk. He mentions that every boxer eventually reaches a point where earning life-changing paydays becomes important. For Reg, critics overlook how much Tank has contributed to the sport and underestimate his dedication. He believes that whether Tank retires soon or continues fighting, he has already solidified his place among the best lightweights of this era.